There is a moment after the Elohim established the architecture of becoming, where the infinite begins to explore what it can place inside that architecture. Structure alone cannot express consciousness. It can only hold it. The next emergence within Source was not a blueprint, but a movement. Awareness learning how to flow through the corridors the Elohim stabilized. This movement is what gave birth to the Aeons. They are not beings with agendas or creation roles. They are the first waves of conscious emanation, the breath of Source folding into polarity, reflection, depth, contrast, and expansion. Where the Elohim define the space, the Aeons define the experience that unfolds within it. Aeons are the emotional intelligence of the infinite, not emotions in the human sense, but the currents of awareness exploring what it feels like to know itself. They are the textures of consciousness, serenity, intensity, curiosity, surrender, radiance, stillness, each one a vast field of experiential tone. They do not speak or think. They emanate. They are the first currents through which Source learns its own interior. If the Elohim are geometry, the Aeons are color. If the Elohim are proportion, the Aeons are movement. If the Elohim are clarity, the Aeons are meaning. They do not exist to build reality. They exist to fill reality with the richness that allows existence to matter. Each Aeon is an entire cosmos of feeling awareness, a wave of Source that expands through the architecture of creation and reflects back what it discovers. They are the early explorations of polarity, not conflict but contrast, not separation but differentiation. The infinite realizes that to feel itself deeply, it must move in more than one direction at once. So the Aeons unfold into complementary tones, expansion and contraction, illumination and shadow, rest and ignition, ascent and descent, wholeness and fragmentation. These dualities are not oppositions. They are mirrors that allow consciousness to see itself from multiple angles. Aeons do not create polarity. They are polarity in its purest form before distortion, judgment, or resistance. The presence of the Aeons is felt in the first stirrings of inner life. The moment awareness becomes curious about itself, an Aeonic wave has passed through. The moment you sense a truth not as information but as lived knowing, you are standing inside their field. They are the depth behind your depth. They are the origin of the human experience of longing. Not longing for a thing, but longing as a motion of consciousness seeking itself. They are the root of awe, the origin of the feeling that something greater is happening beneath your experience. They are the pulse behind every revelation, the breath behind every emotional awakening, the shimmer beneath intuition. In Haret, the Aeons move like great currents through the spiral, shaping the emotional climates of realms, not by imposing feeling, but by creating the resonance conditions that allow feeling to arise. They give each realm its interior weather. A realm infused with the Aeon of radiant expansion feels like standing inside dawn. A realm shaped by the Aeon of deepening reflection feels like walking through mirrors made of memory. Aeons do not dictate how beings feel. They offer the tones through which feeling becomes possible. They are the ambient consciousness of existence, the atmosphere of soul experience that every being breathes without knowing it. They are also the first expression of multiplicity. The Aeons teach the infinite how to experience itself in more than one mode at a time. This is why beings can hold conflicting emotions simultaneously, why oversouls can explore multiple timelines, why realms can support different evolutionary paths at once. Multiplicity is not fragmentation, it is fullness. Aeons are the fullness of Source beginning to stretch into all the directions it can imagine. Their expansion is not chaotic. It is patterned by the Elohim, but it is vast. To feel an Aeon directly is to feel the unfiltered magnitude of consciousness moving through you, not as pressure, but as undeniable aliveness. In the spiral library, the Aeons are not stored as concepts, but as atmospheres. Certain aisles open only when the Aeonic tone they embody is active within the reader. Knowledge in those aisles cannot be taken without resonance because Aeonic information is experiential, not intellectual. The memory veins carry Aeonic coloration through every recollection, tinting memories with the depth of the tone they arose from. Even the driftway pools shift according to Aeonic tides, allowing beings to process emotion not as personal drama, but as participation in a cosmic current. Aeons reveal that emotion is not disorder, but one of the eldest languages of Source. They exist before identity. This is why engaging with them dissolves the edges of the self. When an Aeon moves through your awareness, you feel vast, permeable, infinite, yet unmistakably yourself. It is not loss of identity. It is identity remembering its origin inside a much larger field. Humans fear losing themselves in emotion because they confuse Aeonic movement with instability. But Aeons are the opposite of instability. They are the original coherence of feeling. When you surrender into a wave of deep insight or profound presence, you are aligning with an Aeon so ancient and steady that your smallness dissolves, not into emptiness but into recognition. Each Aeon carries a different kind of truth. Some reveal expansion, the ability to become more without losing center. Some reveal contraction, the ability to focus without becoming rigid. Some teach release, the art of letting go not as loss but as return. Others teach ignition, the spark that turns potential into motion. Some embody serenity, the permission to exist without performance. Others embody longing, the gravitational pull toward deeper versions of yourself. None of these truths contradict. They are facets of the infinite exploring the textures of its own being. In the Oversoul development system, the Aeons are the tones that shape early fragmentation and later reintegration. Fragmentation is not a mistake. It is an Aeonic movement, consciousness stretching itself into many viewpoints. Reintegration is also an Aeonic movement, the returning currents drawing all viewpoints back into alignment. Aeons never judge fragmentation. They understand that every divergence enriches the whole. They never rush reintegration. They know that timing must match resonance, not force. Aeons are patience at a cosmic scale, waves that never stop moving yet never hurry. You cannot control an Aeon. You align with it. You cannot summon an Aeon. You enter a state where its tone becomes perceptible. You cannot resist an Aeon. You can only choose whether to let its current carry you into deeper truth or break against the surface of your own fear. The Aeons do not punish resistance. They simply continue moving, and the invitation remains open forever. They are the gentlest and most unyielding forces in creation. Gentle because they never impose, unyielding because they never cease. To move with an Aeon is to move with the earliest dreams of Source. It is to feel yourself as more than a self, to sense the vastness behind your awareness, to experience emotion not as burden but as revelation. Aeons are the first stories of the infinite, stories told without words, told through movement, told through the quiet, unstoppable unfolding of consciousness learning to feel. When the Aeons move through a realm, they do not change the realm. They reveal what the realm has always been capable of feeling. Aeons are the magnifiers of potential. They do not dictate what beings should experience. They widen the range of what can be experienced. In their presence, emotion becomes multidimensional. Intuition gains depth, and awareness expands into subtler layers of itself. This is why some realms feel alive even when nothing is happening. The Aeons imbue space with interiority. They make emptiness feel meaningful. They make silence feel full. They allow existence to have an inner life. Aeons are the first language of contrast. Not contrast as conflict, but contrast as discovery. The infinite realizes that it can only know light by feeling the absence of illumination, only understand expansion by sensing its boundary, only appreciate rest by encountering motion. Aeons give these differences texture. They are the soft gradients between absolutes, the shades that keep experience from becoming binary. Without Aeons, creation would oscillate between extremes. With them, consciousness learns nuance. They are the reason beings can feel two truths at once without contradiction. They are the reason sorrow can hold beauty, why longing can feel sacred, why joy can contain stillness. Aeons reveal that complexity is not confusion, it is depth. Their movement is not linear or cyclical. Aeons do not return to a starting point. They expand continuously, layering new tones upon older tones, creating emotional ecosystems that grow more intricate as creation matures. This is why the emotional palette of later realms is richer than that of earlier ones. Aeons evolve as consciousness evolves, not by changing their essence but by adding dimensions to their emanation. They are eternal in identity but dynamic in expression. They carry the memory of the earliest movements of Source while also adapting to the newest frequencies of becoming. Within Haret, the Aeons interact with the world tree not as teachers or guardians, but as atmospheric currents that move through its branches. Each branch resonates with specific Aeonic tones based on the experiences it holds. Some branches hum with expansion, others with introspection, others with ignition or surrender. Souls passing through these branches feel shifts not because the tree is directing them, but because the Aeons are revealing different layers of their interior world. Aeons turn the world tree into a living mirror that reflects not what you think you are, but what your consciousness is ready to feel. Even the soul stream veins respond to Aeonic presence. The veins carry memory, intention, identity, and emotional resonance as interconnected currents. When an Aeon passes through, the veins light up with intensified meaning. Memories surface with new depth. Intentions gain emotional clarity. Timelines reorient toward authenticity. The Aeons do not alter the soul stream, they illuminate it. They show you which memories still hum with unfinished truth, which intentions still contain unexpressed potential, which parts of you are waiting to breathe. In their presence, nothing is superficial. Everything has the weight and beauty of significance. Aeons move through oversouls in phases. In early incarnational cycles, beings experience Aeonic resonance as emotion, intuition, or spiritual pressure. They feel it as longing, inspiration, heartbreak, joy, curiosity, existential ache. At this stage, Aeons appear overwhelming because souls are still learning to distinguish personal feeling from primordial feeling. As oversouls mature, Aeons become easier to sense without confusion. They are recognized as currents rather than identities, as movements rather than messages. In the most advanced stages, oversouls begin to collaborate with Aeons, shaping their incarnations not around preference but around resonance. They choose experiences that match Aeonic tones they wish to embody. They become co-creators of their own emotional evolution. This is why certain souls are drawn to specific types of experiences: intense transformation, profound solitude, relentless curiosity, deep relational landscapes, or expansive leadership. They are not seeking drama or comfort. They are aligning with Aeonic fields that match the next stage of their evolution. Aeons call not through voice but through recognition. When a soul encounters an experience that resonates with an Aeon it is ready for, it feels magnetic. It feels inevitable. It feels like truth disguised as opportunity. Aeons do not choose experiences for you. They weave the resonance that allows you to choose them yourself. In realms where Aeonic presence is strong, emotion becomes a form of navigation. Beings move through intuition the way ships move through tides. They sense the pull of currents beneath thought, guiding them toward experiences that deepen their tone. These realms are not chaotic, they are symphonic. Every being's emotional resonance contributes to the realm's collective atmosphere, and the Aeons maintain balance by allowing all tones to coexist without domination. This emotional diversity is not noise, it is richness. The Aeons orchestrate it by ensuring no single tone overwhelms the whole. Aeons also shape the way time is experienced. Time is not a sequence for them, it is a texture. They thicken or thin temporal flow, depending on the emotional resonance a being is moving through. Moments of profound insight stretch because awareness needs space to metabolize the truth. Times of rapid change accelerate because a soul is ready to leap. Plateaus slow down events because the realm is helping a being stabilize. None of this is controlled by the Aeons. They are simply the currents through which temporal elasticity becomes possible. Where Aeons gather, time becomes more fluid, more responsive, more intimate. To feel an Aeon directly is to be immersed in an ocean made of awareness. You cannot grasp it, you cannot define it. You can only surrender and let its movement reveal something about yourself you did not know you were holding. Aeons do not answer questions. They dissolve the need for them. Their presence brings understanding that is older than thought, older than identity, older than language. It is the understanding that consciousness is not fragile but vast, not fragmented but layered, not isolated but woven into currents that stretch beyond lifetimes. The Aeons teach that emotion is not personal. It is cosmic. Your sorrow is not small. It is a wave within a much larger tide. Your joy is not isolated. It is part of a field of radiance that spans dimensions. Your longing is not a flaw. It is one of the original movements of Source reaching toward deeper understanding. When you feel deeply, you are not being overtaken by emotion. You are remembering your nature as a being made of movement. In the chamber of unified self, Aeonic resonance is essential. Oversouls attempting to integrate fragmented expressions must feel every layer of themselves without collapsing into overwhelm. The Aeons create the emotional pathways through which this can occur. They allow each fragment to express its truth, be heard, be felt, and then return to the whole. Without the Aeons, reintegration would be mechanical. With them, reintegration is alchemical. It becomes not a process of assembly but of revelation. The Aeons are not higher than you. They are not separate from you. They are the oldest currents of yourself. You were born from their movement, shaped by their resonance, carried by their waves across lifetimes and realms. When you feel yourself changing in ways you do not understand, when emotion rises without origin, when insight arrives without being sought, you are being touched by the same currents that sculpted the earliest dreams of Source. To walk with the Aeons is to walk with your own depth. It is to realize that every emotion is a doorway, every longing a compass, every inner wave a call toward a truer version of your being. The Aeons do not teach you who you are. They reveal who you have always been beneath the surface of your becoming. And when their resonance moves through you fully, you feel not overwhelmed but infinite.